Hi, Chapel family. My name is Mark Gagline, the executive pastor here at the chapel. We are in week 5 of our Permission to Speak, reading through the Psalms. We hope you have been enjoying this reading and this series on Permission to Speak, and that you have felt that God is calling you to cry out to Him. This week in week 5, we want to look at Psalms 85 through 103. Today I want to focus in on what some have described as the saddest of all the Psalms. I originally wanted to entitle this devotional, Hopeless but Prayerful. But we will see that the psalmist, even though he is sad, he still prays and he still puts his hope in God. So maybe a better title for this devotional would be In Darkness, Pray. Or In Despair, Pray. Or in disappointment with God, pray. So let's see what the psalmist has to say. When you look at a psalm that is a lament psalm, which is a psalm of sorrow, a psalm of pain, a psalm of brokenness, there usually is an introduction, there is a complaint, and there is a petition, and then there is a conclusion that is hopeful. But this psalm just sort of ends a little bit in despair, and I'll give you a reason at the end why he does this. So in despair, we encourage you to pray. So here's his introduction, Psalm 88. O Lord, God of my salvation, I cry out day and night before you. We'll see in verse 13, he cries out again to the Lord. He says, let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to my cry. For my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to Sheol, which literally means darkness. Some refer to it as hell. It's a dark place. It's in a dark time. He says his soul is full of troubles, and his life draws near to Sheol. I just need to stop there and say, is this your life today? And maybe if this is not your life today, was this your life yesterday? One thing I've experienced is that we either are in trouble, we're coming out of trouble, or we're headed for trouble. And the psalmist is going to continue to have hope in God. Notice what he says in verse 4. He says, I'm counted among those who go down to the pit. I'm a man who has no strength, like one set loose among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, like those who remember no more, for they are cut off from your hand. So he's saying, my life has fallen apart. I'm near death. He uses these descriptors of being cut off in the grave. Verse 6 says, you have put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. Your wrath lies heavy upon me, and you overwhelm me with your waves. You have caused my companions to shun me. You have made me a horror to them. I am shut in, so I cannot escape. My eyes grow dim through sorrow. And here's what I notice in Psalm 88. This is the center, or this is the core of the psalm. And so maybe you want to highlight this. Again, he's talking about despair and trouble and darkness. But notice what he says. Every day I call upon you. Every day, even though life is dark, I call upon you, O Lord. I spread out my hands to you. Do you work wonders from the dead? Do the departed rise up to praise you? Is your steadfast love is your steadfast love declared in the grave? or your faithfulness in Abaddon, which is another name for Sheol? Are your wonders known in the darkness, or in your righteousness in the land of forgetfulness? But notice what he says. He says, but I, O Lord, I cry out to you. In the morning my prayer comes before you. So all day and early in the morning, when life is dark and full of despair and disappointment, he still has hope. He cries out to the Lord. And verse 14 says, O Lord, why do you cast my soul away? Why do you hide your face from me? Afflicted and close to death from my youth up, I suffer your terrors, and I am helpless. Your wrath has swept over me. Your dreadful assaults destroy me. They surround me like a flood all day long. They close in on me together. You have caused my beloved and my friend to shun me. My companions have become darkness. The psalm ends in darkness. And some of you right now feel like you're walking in darkness. You feel almost like you're walking around like a dead man or a dead woman. But this psalm and this series, Permission to Speak, has told us and commanded us and encouraged us to cry out to God. He gives us permission to speak to him, even when we feel like he is the one who has caused the pain. It's missing a conclusion. But if you look at the next verse, which is Psalm 89, here's the typical conclusion that we would expect. It says, I will sing of the steadfast love of the Lord forever. With my mouth I will make known your faithfulness to all generations. If you're in despair, if you're in darkness, remember that the steadfast love of the Lord is there forever. Enjoy reading through the Psalms this week. Again, we are in Psalms 85 through 103. And if you have not started and this is your first devotional, I would encourage you to just start in Psalm 85 and read 3 Psalms and continue to read with us and go back and catch the other Psalms at a later date. God bless you.